Follow your passion. The long tail of VBO's best friend. You've likely heard of the long tail. If not, it is a concept coined by Wired editor-in-chief Chris Anderson in 2004. The concept is that our culture and economy is shifting away from a focus on a relatively small number of mainstream products and markets. It is increasingly moving toward a huge number of niches that make up the long tail. The long tail is the VBO's best friend. The concept is that collectively there is as much demand for these niche products and services as there is for the mainstream offerings that were only provided by big companies. Traditional business models dictated that you could only have a profitable company if you had a solution for the masses. It just wasn't economically feasible to market to these tiny niche markets. Think about the long tail in terms of buying books. We used to buy our books from Borders or Barnes & Noble. Based on physical constraints, they were only able to carry 200,000 titles or something like that. Then came along Amazon. They now offer over 2 million books. Essentially 10 times as many books as you would find at your local book retailers. While my numbers may be a little off, you get the point. This changed the rules a couple of ways. First, you now have access to more niche books that cover exactly what you're interested in, not just mainstream topics. However, more important to you, it gave 1.8 million more authors platform to sell their information. The big part of the long tail shrunk, and the long tail itself grew. Understanding this is core to your VBO strategy. I would offer that the internet was the beginning of the long tail, but cloud technology brought it into the mainstream. When I started my first internet company in 1995, it was extremely expensive to get anything done. Just to have a website required you to buy a server, or several, at $10,000 a pop. Then, you had to hire developers to create everything from scratch. There was no WordPress to develop sites, no Shopify to launch a store, no Google Analytics to track your performance, nothing. What cost over $1 million to create back then can be done for $5,000 today. At one point, I had a string of Dell U40 racks with development, staging, and production servers. Each rack, loaded with servers, ran about $250,000. That was the small expense. Buying the software, configuring them, and maintaining them was the expensive part. Let that sink in. While the internet gave you access to a global market, the technology was so expensive that it was mainly a playground for venture capital-backed startups. The same company can now be launched with a couple of $1,000s. In many cases, a VBO business can be launched with a couple of $100s. I would offer, while Chris Anderson was spot on with the long tail theory, it wasn't until cloud computing technology hit the mainstream in 2013 or so that the long tail really started to take off. As the long tail continues to grow, things like capital, or banks, and knowledge, corporations, are no longer a requirement. The emergence of the long tail puts the power in the hands of you, the VBO. The best part of it is that you don't need a college degree or a big bank account. You simply need to have the absolute desire to change your life and the fortitude to stick to your plan.